Fine arts, learning at your own pace in Montessori, starting your path to college in elementary, earning a college degree in high school. The pride of being a Longhorn lives on long after graduation. Educate, empower, inspire.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for School Choice Your Voice, a very special meeting that we are having so that we can learn what school choice programs are important to you. My name is Alicia Davis, Director of Family and Community Engagement, and I am joined by two very special panelists. We have our superintendent, Dr. Gerald Hudson, and we also have Ms. Tyesha Smith-Lowe. She is the Executive Director of Innovation for the district. Now, I'm going to go over the agenda of what we're going to be discussing this evening. We are going to talk about the history of choice programs in Cedar Hill ISD, in addition to choice programs in Dallas-Fort Worth. We're going to talk about how we can prepare our scholars and serve our community with these programs. Then we're going to talk about the next steps for Cedar Hill ISD choice program. And we're going to launch a thought exchange during this broadcast so that we can get your feedback on what you want to see for the campuses that do not have a branded choice program. We're also going to have a Q&A session at the end of this. So you will be able to ask questions here, and you'll also be able to ask questions via the thought exchange. All right, so what is school choice? CHISD's choice programs operate within existing campuses, unlike private and charter schools, which are completely separate institutions. And choice programs focus on specific areas of interest, such as performing arts, world languages, and leadership, as well as science, technology, engineering, and math, which are our STEM programs. And now I'm going to allow Dr. Hudson to take it away and talk to you a little bit about the choice program's history in Cedar Hill ISD.
So thank you, Ms. Davis. So of course, one of the things we want to talk about is just kind of the history. So in 2014, our district introduced a innovation initiative that redesigned and repurposed certain campuses in the district. That plan including expanding the collegiate pathway because collegiate high school was there, so to expand to having the academy as well as elementary school, and then creating signature elementary campuses and adding STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math programs to our middle school. So unfortunately, these programs, we did have a choice program, but some of them suffered due to, you go back one, I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, we suffered a little bit because of changes in administration, changes in campus leadership, change in direction. And some of it just happened with the sustainability plan. You know, we always say the institution of knowledge leaves when a person, 40% of the institution of knowledge leaves when a person leaves. And so we want to make sure that we have something viable. So High Point was had a focus on STEM based on professional development from Discovery Education. Waterford Oaks implemented curriculum and programming from code to the future to place an emphasis on coding from pre-K to fifth grade. Highlands was moved towards offering dual language programs to scholar. Plummer focused on business and industry. And the two middle schools were labeled STEAM academies. In the entrepreneurship and digital design academy at Pimentor was created to align to Plummer Elementary and Lake Ridge business and industry signature program. The digital design focus on the app development and web design, along with the introduction to HTML using Project Lead the Way and Code.org. Entrepreneurship was designed to teach scholars the foundation of establishing STEM focus, tech ventures, nonprofit ventures geared towards social awareness and profit businesses. The Environmental Science and Engineering Academy at Bessie Coleman was created to align with the STEM program at Waterford Oaks. and reestablished the community garden and some other things. So again, these were some of the programs, and they had great intentions, but there wasn't a real sustainability plan from what we can find. So what are our current programs that we have, our current trust programs? Fine Arts is at Bray, Montessori at Lake Ridge, Collegiate Prep is a choice school, Collegiate Academy Middle School, and high school. And then, of course, we have ECA, which is our Early College Academy at City Hill High School. One of the things that we did initially, making some changes and modification, when you go to choose your high school, whether you go to Collegiate High School or you go through the ECA program, you have a pathway to receive an associate degree. So it really depends on whether you want to be a part of it. I know that there was a lot of concerns from students and parents who kids were athletes who wanted to be a part of collegiate, but because of the schedule, it was hard to work out. But so with ECA, we have worked it out. So we have removed one of those barriers. One of the things we try to do is make sure we remove as many barriers as possible, so our kids can achieve what we know they can achieve, which is greatness. So these programs are just a small few. And I struggled a little bit coming in because when we came with the Choose Your Seat campaign, we wasn't choosing. You didn't get a chance to choose High Point. You didn't get a chance to choose Highlands. You get a chance to choose Plummer, which are all great schools. So, what are we inadvertently saying if we're not giving parents the opportunity or students the opportunity to choose some of our campuses? So again, we wanted to look at how we can create choice program, but also create alignment. So when we talk about alignment, I'm a product of a magnet program. I was born and raised in Dallas, went to Rasmus Seguin Bow Story Middle School, and eventually went to Skyline High School, which is the first magnet school in the country. It was a career development center. And I went there for electronics because that was in my mind what I wanted to do. And again, we talk about how do we make sure the kids find their passions while they're in high school? Because, of course, if you find your passion in high school, then you save a lot more money. It's still trying to find your passion while you're in college. I used to talk to a lot of kids who were pre-med, and then I asked them, why did you change your major? They finally got to college and got to certain courses and realized they don't like blood. And that's one of the first things you're going to deal with in the medical field. So if we can help our kids find their passion down, that's why we have great CTE courses, career and technical education courses that give our kids the opportunity to explore. It's just really and that's one reason why we changed the GPA requirements, not the GPA requirement, but how we look at credits, because we don't want to discourage kids from taking a CTE course because they want to take an AP course to stay competitive with their or stay in the top 10%. So we want to make sure we're pushing or giving our kids a well-rounded education. So when we talk about elementary school programs, we want to make sure that if a kid chooses that, there's alignment. Not only was I a product of graduating from Career Development Center in Skyline, I also was the principal of a magnet program in Garland ISD. And so I speak to you not only as a participant, and I was actually one of the first dual credit students in Dallas ISD history. I'm also speaking to you as someone who's facilitating these opportunities for kids. And so when we talk about college and career magnet, we actually had elementary dual language, classical at the middle school, and all that fed into the high school program. We want to make sure that our kids have alignment so that when they start something, that it actually matriculates something into the high school. So if that's something they want to do, they have the opportunity to see it at all levels and be able to participate in it. So, again, some of the programs that we have can matriculate, like Fine Arts. Fine Arts is a perfect example. So Fine Arts is at Bray. And so you have the opportunity for orchestra. If things go right, we have opportunity for dance, all these other components. So where does Bray, by the feeder pattern, it feeds into Bessie Coleman? So if it feeds into Bessie Coleman, does Bessie Coleman, should they have an orchestra program? Well, in actuality, Bessie Coleman and Permenter have an orchestra program. But in alignment, it should probably only at Bessie Coleman. so that the kids who are in those programs have a pathway, which ultimately leads to high school with the orchestra program as well. But it gives you a clear pathways. If you look at some of the things in the near future, we do have a possibility of a hospital being built really close to our high school, which means that possibility of our middle school perimeter and the high school being more of a medical STEM. So it's these opportunities that give kids a realization on when they go through programs that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And again, if it's okay if they change their mind, it's really an opportunity for them to figure out, what do I want to do for the rest of my life. Again, it costs you nothing in high school. Once you go to college and start changing your mind and change your major, it costs you everything. So we want to give our kids as many opportunities to see all the greatness and be exposed to things as early as possible. So as we say, discover your passions. And of course, even though we have looked at all the different things, and we mentioned some of the STEM programs um, that we're currently going through, STEAMposium, STEMspire, not STEAMposium, STEMspire. We are including a lot of things that we normally would, but this is the base, what we expect at all our campus, because we have a pre-K-12 initiative about STEM, and these are things we're talking about above that. So when we talk about designated choice program, it's academic program, and it's the grade span. Some things lead to it, some things don't. I mean, there are probably going to be questions about Montessori. There are not too many Montessori examples that go beyond 8th grade. Most of them go to 6th grade. And the reason why, Montessori is a self-paced and learn on your own, but that doesn't necessarily translate when you go to middle school and high school, because it is at a different pace. It's at a different schedule. So elementary program alignment with middle school campus, we want our programs that are at Highland, Plummer, Lake Ridge, Collegiate Prep, if they go in the perimeter, that they have an avenue for them to do those same type of programming, which will eventually lead on to the high school. Same thing with Water Folks, High Point, Bray, Lake Ridge Prep, because two of our campuses, they're kind of split in between. But as you see a direct pathway, and if it's not on there, but Collegiate Academy, and this is like, how do we make sure that kids get what they need? So not only you graduate, we call it an and. Not only you graduate with a high school diploma, you graduate with something else: CTE certification, STEM-based certification, certificate, other things that's going to make you a better candidate for college, a better candidate for a job, better candidate in the workforce.
All right, thank you, Dr.
I might be
Hudson.
muted. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dr. Hudson.
Problem.
Our next speaker is Tyesha Smith-Lowe. She's going to talk to you about choice programs and trends. Sorry about
All
that.
right. Thank you, Alicia and Dr. Hudson. Good afternoon to everyone. As far as why school, go ahead. Go ahead. Why choice programs? So every child is unique and all children learn differently. Some kids might succeed at the traditional neighborhood school, while others may need a learning environment that is catered to their specific interests. And that's why here in Cedar Hill ISD, we're committed to expanding our choice program options. So why choice programs? Next please. If we design and align our systems to create and support scholar learning, then the district will have a systematic approach that will bring consistency and excellence across the district. So that is pretty much exactly what Dr. Hudson was saying with the alignment, that it's not just about offering choice programs, but having a system and the processes to have it from elementary, middle, and then it feeds up into high school. Our choice programs will provide all our scholars with rigorous and culturally relevant curriculum and the resources and programs that support their goals. So educating, empowering, and inspiring. These are the DFW choice program trends that we're seeing across the Metroplex. You'll see, and these are available at elementary as well as middle and the high school levels across DFW. Business and entrepreneurship, career institutes, dual languages, early learning, environmental sciences, health professions. You'll see IB programs, law and humanities, Montessori schools, single gender schools like Young Women's Academy and Male Leadership Academies. You will also see across DFW STEM or STEAM, with the A is the arts, talented and gifted program, as well as visual and performing arts. And when as we develop our choice programs, we're strategically, when we say systematic, we're intentional about the offerings that we would like to have for our families. But we're looking at data. Everything we do, we use data to support that. And all the time, every month, I am looking at data from the labor market information, from higher education, because just like right now, when we're looking at our DFW labor market and our college degree trends, we're seeing a lot of majors, and this data is about 2 years lag, just how the higher education receives the data. We're seeing a lot of students who are graduating with degrees in biomedical sciences, communications, psychology, English, math, allied health, computer science, engineering, and business. So this slide also shows what a first year income, the average is throughout Texas for these college degree programs. So when we're looking at our choice programs, we're also looking at student community interests. We're looking at college degree programs, which also include industry certifications that scholars can earn right in high school and go directly into the workforce. And then we're looking at the workforce data. And we're not looking at the current data. We're looking at data that's the projections for 10 years on out, not just what's going to be happening next school year or this school year. So when we look at our Texas labor market review, it's saying that by 2028, the healthcare and support occupations are projected to grow by 20%. You have computer and mathematical occupations that are projected to grow by 19, right at 20%. Legal occupations to grow about 18%. Business, construction, they're around the 16 to 17%. Transportation and logistics is a growing market that we have seen increase even more with the pandemic. And also installation, maintenance, and repair, as well as architecture and engineering occupations growing about 10% projected in 2028. So when we're looking at choice programs, again, we're not just, waving this magic wand and saying, oh, this is what we want to do right now. We also want to make sure that our scholars are learning about careers and different types of careers in elementary school, and then is growing. Their knowledge base is growing in middle school, and then in high school, like Dr. Hudson mentioned, they're being more specific about their career options, to where when they do go to college, whether it's a 2-year or 4-year program, they won't go in and major and decide on a major, and then it's like, oh no, I don't like that. It's best for us to start getting a kind of understanding of what our scholars want early, so they won't have to waste that time and money later on in life. So, expanding choice programs. And during fall 2021, we sent out a survey to our community on the type of choice programs that our community would like to see in our district. And we got really great feedback from our community. And if you go to the next slide, Alicia, you can see that we shared the survey with the families, and we came back, about 315 people did provide feedback on the survey, and the majority of the participants being parents and current scholars. And next survey, please. And we came up with our top 10 choice programs. So our community and our scholars were highly interested in Arts Academy, which that's visual performing arts and communications. That includes the dance, the theater, expanding beyond orchestra as well. They also our community was interested in STEM, which we know that we are a STEM-inspired district, and we do STEM from pre-K all the way through 12, but that was a really high interest level for our community. Business and entrepreneurship, information technology, medical and biomedical sciences, coding and robotics, as well as environmental sciences, international studies, leadership, and then the last one will be dual credit languages. So when we're looking at like the arts at the elementary level, what we're seeing for choice program, that we will integrate the art into their core curriculum. So the scholars will be all, they will have all of their subjects, but for fine arts, it will be based on the arts. And they will do that through their English and their, and still address all of their TEKS and their Texas standards, but it would be more based on the arts. And the same thing with, for example, a business academy. Our business choice programs, their curriculum will be based on those business concepts of designing and planning and project planning, things of that nature. So when we're designing our choice programs, we want to look at the data where it's in occupations, careers will be 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But we also want to look at our community interests as well as the academic support and the needs academically for our scholars. Our next steps. Next, we're going to launch a thought exchange tonight. Well, when we would like for you all to narrow our list down from 10 choice programs and get it, we're trying to get it to about 5, no more than 7 choice programs. We would like to offer a choice program at every campus here in Cedar Hill, definitely every elementary as well as middle school campuses. We do have choice programs at our high schools. In one of our middle school, we're kind of, the sustainability at Permitter and Coleman really hasn't been there, but we want to relive that choice program. So our next steps will be to launch the thought exchange tonight, review the feedback, and determine stability. So when we're looking at stability, we're looking at the academic needs, we're looking at the facilities, you know, what do we need as far as the type of space and the equipment as well. All of that has to be sustainable. We don't want what happened in the past to happen as we move forward, because we just, that's not how we do things in Cedar Hill anymore. And so we're going to review the feedback and determine the stability, and then we'll update the community and launch requests for our proposals. So our timeline for expansion in 2022-23, we will select the new choice programs, and then we will develop an implementation and sustainability plan. School year 23-24, we will launch 3 additional new choice programs. And then school year 24-25, we will launch an additional 3 new choice programs. So we're looking at a 2 school year turnaround as far as launching the programs. So we wouldn't have a choice program at every elementary school during the 23-24 school year, but by the end of the 2024-25, we will have a choice program at every elementary school, as well as the need on our middle school levels. And all of our choice programs will align from what's on elementary to the middle school and then feed into the high school.
Thank you, Ty.
All right.
All right. Now it is your turn to give us your feedback. Families, we are asking you to, if you're on a computer, get your phone out, scan this QR code, or go to tejoin.com, enter that 9-digit code and answer the question. I'm also going to place this into the chat so you can click on it and share your feedback. We want to know what's important to you, what choice programs are of interest to you, so that will help us get this process started. Now, of course, we wanted to make sure we launch this thought exchange tonight, but we are here to answer some of your questions right now. But if your question is really good, we're going to want you to take that question and paste it into the thought exchange so we can make sure it's there. We want to make sure every thought, question, concern you have regarding the future of our school choice programs is captured. All right, but there is a question that someone did ask. Ebony asked, what is the difference between ECA and collegiate high school? Someone asked that question earlier.
So, did you want to answer that question?
I think I can, and you can, but well, the main difference is the fact that ECA takes place at the comprehensive high school. So you are able to participate in the regular high school activities because they're actually at that campus. Collegiate is a little bit different where, the scholars also can get, the associate's degree, but those scholars are bused from collegiate to what's the school?
Cedar Valley.
Cedar Valley. So
To Cedar Valley, and they don't necessarily have those extracurricular activities at that campus. They would have to be then bused from collegiate high school to the comprehensive high school, which is at Cedar Hill High School, in order to participate in those types of activities. But both collegiate high school scholars and ECA scholars basically can get the same exact thing, which is graduate from high school with an associate's degree.
and they also have the opportunity for STEM-based industry certification to the Dr. Peggy M. Wilson STEM Center. So so you were right. The major difference I will say is that being on the high school campus is much easier to participate in the fine arts. When you talk about competition in UIL, there's fine arts at the collegiate, but they do not participate in UIL. And then there's also athletics. So it's a one unnecessary step you have to take. Process for getting in is pretty much the same right now. So it is better for, and that was one of the biggest drawbacks I heard from a lot of kids wanting to take the challenge, but they also want to participate in sports, and it's a scheduling nightmare when you have to do so many classes at collegiate, then try to participate in sports, whether it's during the school day and providing transportation, not providing transportation, or after school. And we know that a lot of times you were not going to be successful if you're not in the athletic period with the other athletes. So yes, this was really an opportunity to give both our schools the same pathway to an associate degree.
Awesome, thank you. Will this QR code be available on the CHISD website? We could likely make that happen. However, I did actually put the link to the ThoughtExchange in the chat, so you can just click on it. And then also this presentation will be made available to you. Every family should have received an email and a text regarding this presentation. So if you go back to it, you'll see it. It'll be available to you because the YouTube links are live, and you'll just be able to always view the YouTube presentation. But I'm sure we can make it available online if that's something that you need. And let's see, I don't see any other questions at this time. Any other questions about our future of our choice programs in Cedar Hill ISD? Because if you have them, where do we want them? We want them on the ThoughtExchange. So that's great. Because you're not asking them now. We want you to certainly add them to the ThoughtExchange. Does anyone? Oh, go ahead.
And we also understand that a lot of times it's just like being in class again. You don't have any questions while you have people talking in front of you, but as soon as the conversation is over, then that's when you have all the questions. So that's why we have the ThoughtExchange, and so give you an opportunity. And so we typically try to create an FAQ based on that, so we can address a lot of the questions, concerns, or anything else. But again, as a product of a magnet program and a facilitator of a magnet program and magnet pathway, these are great opportunities for our students. And our kids always rise to the level of expectation we put in front of them. So again, we want to put the absolute best things we can put in front of them. So again, it's spark their minds on things beyond what they normally see. As to the possibilities are endless for our students if they are given the right tools so they can make better choices on what they want to do for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. Oh, let's see. Here's a quote. Well, someone says they can't hear us. I don't know. I believe people can hear us. So you might want to unmute or turn the volume up. I apologize if you cannot hear us. I am very sorry. Let's see. Are any more schools will have bilingual programs? Will any other schools have bilingual programs aside from?
No. So if anything, we will expand Holland's bilingual is one way to two-way. Two-way means both beneficial. So if anything, we'll expand it to be a two-way campus to give. So there won't be another bilingual program, but it does lead to languages at the middle school, languages at the high school. Right now, we currently offer Spanish, and I do believe that and French at the high school. And at one particular point, even a kid did a presentation who was accepted to MIT. She took Chinese, and so what are the possibilities that we can create for kids in those programs?
All right. If you have the choice programs incorporated in the curriculum, will they still have separate classes and studies for certain areas?
Absolutely.
They have
So
art, business, dual language, etc.
yeah, so you already have some of the classes, but when you talk about, especially at the high school, these are typically your elective classes, typically your CTE courses. So if you're doing biomedical engineering, that is a specified class. So kids have to sign up for that particular class. So it wouldn't be anything. So they're supposed to graduate with 24. Was it 24 or 26? 26? It's 26? Sometimes they change the number. I think it's 24 credits. And when you talk about 8, you have a possibility of 32 credits. And so with that, we try to put in mind the elective courses to give kids opportunities. So some of the art classes are you have a fine arts requirement, but above that, you have CTE courses you can take, and those will be some of your electives. So if we align it right at the middle school, you have elective courses like career exploration. You have some other courses, but we would have some specified courses like Project Lead the Way, if they're engineering, that would align to the high school courses. So it gives them opportunities. So it will still be a sort of a choice. So if you're a part of the program, you'll be in those classes, and you have to, have interest. We don't want just kids signing up for classes that they don't want to have. But the classes are supposed to lead to something. And I always say it's like standing in line at the cafeteria. You eventually want to have something to eat. So we want our kids to graduate with something, especially like besides an associate's degree, at least an industry-based certification. I graduated industry-based certification, and it gives you I knew a lot of people who did things like that, and they used that in college to help pay for their college education because it was a certification. It's not just a certification in the state. Most certifications are international. So it gives our kids more options and flexibility just by having those certification. We had kids who did such a good job with Final Cut Pro in the television production that they will move so far ahead at the television production in University of Texas, which have a great program, but it's because we did early preparation for them, and they had a leg up on people who just went as a freshman thinking this is what I want to do. So there always have to be something at the end of that we want our kids to walk away with. As we say, is when your time is up, what have you learned or earned?
All right. Is the district looking to add additional vocational classes to the high school? For example, cosmetology.
That's going to be an interesting question. I think that we actually have the Longhorn Futures Committee looking at just overall the different things we're doing. Biomedical and health science technology is still at the high school, but we do have biomedical science at the STEM Center. So is there room for expansion possibility? That's something we all have to explore, because, of course, with cosmetology, you have to look at space. Those, cosmetology, auto body, we have a welding shop, but some of it's just space and specialized equipment to go with that space. And that's really where most of the big costs come from, is putting that equipment in, putting the appropriate things in. So we will still continue to look at that because we want to give kids options. And that's hence the reason why we have a fire academy. That was all based upon kids who want to do that.
Awesome. Is it only at the high school level, or will you do these things at the middle school level.
We won't have cosmetology, something like that at the middle school. So there are certain courses, CTE courses, just like someone mentioned about curriculum, that you have to have certain curriculum and course alignment. But you have things that you do in the middle school to help prepare them for that. You can have courses that there will be used as their local elective courses in lieu of going to career explorations, home economics, and some other things. There will be a pathway for them so that it leads into what they want to do when they go into high school.
All right, hope that answers that question. What would a typical day look like for an elementary scholar at High Point if in this program?
It wouldn't change a lot of things because typically, we talk about kids have the core essential things they're supposed to do. They also have specials. And so when you have specials, sometimes the kids who are in specialized program will go to a specialized teacher in lieu of going to probably library or something like that, just using as example. So it is scheduled in such a way that kids get those opportunities. I mean, take for instance at Bray, if a kid's orchestra, not all kids are going to go to music choir because some of the kids are actually going to go to orchestra. So it gives them that opportunity. And then, of course, every Friday is a club day for our elementary campus, which includes some of our STEM clubs.
Thank you, Dr. Hudson. My kids will be new CHISD students as of 2022-2023 school year. Yay! They are 3rd grade and 10th grade as new students. When can they apply to the choice programs?
Well,
It's registrations right now. So I'm trying to figure out, we did choose your seat.
And that normally opens in December, right?
right.
And so for choice programming generally opens in December and I believe closes in January or February. I'm not sure. But as far as these particular choice programs that we're talking about tonight, they're not necessarily in place. So there's going to be a couple of rounds of and a couple of years before some of these choice programs that we're discussing tonight will actually be in place. But the current choice programs, you can apply during the choose your seat window, which opens in December. And since you are your scholars will be new, I believe you can, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can apply to be in any current choice program that we have. But there may be a waiting list. There may be, it just depends on whether or not your scholars would be able to get into them.
That is correct. At the 1st of April, we'll go back once we look at all of the scholars who have, regarding our current choice programs, all of the scholars who have chosen to come back and the ones who were originally accepted through our first round of acceptance letters and acceptance. Then we'll go and we'll open it back up again if we have any seats available. But new to districts students will also have an opportunity to apply for a choice program as well. So please continue to watch our Choose Your Seat website around April the 1st, and you'll start seeing more information. Now, as far as 10th grade, those options may be still a little limited depending on collegiate high school or early college academy. At collegiate, your scholar may be able to go in as a 10th grader to collegiate high school. That is very doable and we do still have seats open for the 10th grade level. And they can definitely do that because we don't offer as many dual credit courses their freshman year. But with an ECA at the high school, we do not have any openings for that 10th grade level. However, you still, a high school student will still do their regular endorsements, so they can be in fine arts, they can be in any type of career and technical education program. So that's still available to all of our scholars at the high school level.
Thank you. Last question I see right now: how will the district ensure that teachers are prepared to teach in these specialized areas at the elementary schools?
Well, I could tell you some of that is alignment. We would, when you talk about alignment from elementary and middle school, sometimes, like for instance, our orchestra teacher teaches at the middle school and the elementary school. So it's not someone different who's teaching the orchestra class. These kids are actually, if they go on to, I want to say it's Permits, is it Permits? I think it's Bessie Coleman. So that those kids are actually getting K-8 with this orchestra teacher. That makes sense. So when we talk about some of the specialized program and the alignment, a lot of that would be aligned through how we staff, and so that we have those pieces together.
And plenty of professional development.
Absolutely.
Great.
And a lot of times we talk about these specialized areas, you know, when you want to make sure those things, resident experts in those particular areas. Not everyone can teach these type of courses.
All right, thank you so much. And again, you know, some of your thoughts, concerns, you can just copy and paste them and put them in that thought exchange, okay? So we can make sure that they are captured there as well. We appreciate you all for joining us this evening, and again, for your future feedback as we plan for the future of our district and our choice programming. All right. Thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful evening. Yes, and it is always a great day to be a Longhorn. Bye.
Bye.